Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Today we will be talking about change of our generation, and we will really get into depth. We're talking about generational trauma. But before we get into everything, I would like everyone for to introduce themselves.
Okay, hi, hello everyone. Thank you for all coming to the panel. My name is Imani Swanson. I am currently the Miss RHA for the 2020-2021 academic school year.
Hello, everyone. My name is Samuel Sky, and I currently serve as your Mr. RHA for the 2020-2021 academic school year.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carrie Ann Wiggin, and I currently serve as the Campus Activities Board President for the 2020-2021 academic school year.
Hey y'all, my name is Zion. I serve as the Secretary for Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated, and I cross all.
What's going on? I'm Justin Good, member Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated, and I'm also an author. Graduated from Savannah State University.
All right, Jacob Al-Shabazz, member of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. Graduated a couple years ago. I'm an investor, business owner. I do it all. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, cool. So my first question to begin the discussion is, how would you all define generational trauma?
I don't know. I would describe generational trauma as something traumatic that's happened over the course of your life that you've seen happen multiple times, and it's happened over the course of different generations, and it's something that you're trying to possibly break to get out of something, in my opinion.
Okay.
All right, I would call it a condition or situation that's ailing a certain generation. Yeah.
Okay.
I would say, along with Samuel and Jacob, that it is something that is continuing for more than two generations. So it could have been affecting your great-grandparents and your grandparents, and now it's finally coming to you.
I totally agree with everyone else. I was gonna say the same thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the generational curses I think are more so like, so I guess some of the failures that your parents or your grandparents may have had that you in your mind feel like you cannot overcome in your own lifetime, like subconsciously. It might have a hold on you, like, oh, everybody in your family might suffer from the same thing, so you think inherently you're gonna suffer from the same thing.
Okay, cool. So one definition, granted, all your definitions fit it, but one definition that I know for myself, I try to use a curse that has transcended down the family line or else generations. So to break it down even further, because generational curses can be a wide variety of things. It can be more than just mentality. It can go from even the ways, some ways we speak, some ways we cook. It gets deep. So what is a curse?
To me, what a curse is kind of like something that follows you for the rest of your life due to like something that you did before, so it's a consequence in a sense. So just like the word karma, when you do something or you to somebody else, it eventually comes and falls back on you. So yeah, it's kind of something that can happen over time. It doesn't have to come the very next day, it doesn't have to come in a month, but eventually it's going to catch up to you or it's going to stay with you.
Also, it can also be something that not only affects you, but affects generations down the line. So, and it may not also happen to you exactly. It can also happen to somebody else in your family, not directly. It cannot be directed towards you automatically.
All I'd have to say is one word: karma. What goes around comes around. So it could be good, it could be bad. You never know the circumstances that you're put in. So therefore, you have to always be mindful of, the curses that you put out into the world.
So I think that I kind of disagree with you guys. I don't think that a curse is karma. I think a curse is something that somebody's giving to you. So I think like a generational curse is like, in my opinion, it's like, okay, if alcoholism runs in your family, that's not your karma. You understand what I'm saying? Your family has alcoholism in your family. That's not your karma. That's just a generational curse. That's just something that is in your family that you're trying to break out of. It ain't so much like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, everybody in my family is rude, so I'm rude. Now people rude to me. No, that's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think like a generational curse is more so like habits that are passed down. You know what I'm saying? Like actual habits, whether it be like money habits, or whether it be like substance abuse, or whether it be like domestic violence. Sometimes people's fathers are woman beaters, and they be like, "Oh, I don't want to be a woman beater like my father." That's you breaking a generational curse to change the habits of the men in your family. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, so
Yeah,
go ahead.
I like, sound like, you know what I'm saying. I typically I always call financial illiteracy a generational curse, right? Because that's something that's typically passed down, not even amongst family members, amongst communities. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That's my little tidbit, though. You know what I mean? We'll elaborate later.
And so, since y'all touched the topic of, some curses can be considered trauma, some of them can't because, it just happened in your family. And now you're the person to decide you are not going to allow this to continue going down. How do generational curses get passed down? Granted, there's many different ways, but just speak on that for me.
Conditioning, picking up other people's habits. I tend to I have a son. Many of you don't know, I'm a parent. A lot of the things that I do, even just small things, you know what I'm saying, my son tends to pick up some of those tendencies, right? So usually you tend to have to like watch yourself around your kids. And I feel like a lot of times, even when I'm speaking to people, I'll say things that my parents have said, and I'm just like, bro, I sound like my dad right now. You know what I'm saying? So you typically I feel like a lot of the things that have been passed down, the bad have definitely been passed down, but the good have been passed down too. You know what I'm saying?
No, just to piggyback off what you just said, I think that I think they're passed down. Just basically, you can be taught. I feel like you can be taught certain things, or the things that you are like susceptible to. Like, I guess sometimes the thing, like, I could see spending could be like something that could be definitely be a generational curse. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you have a mom, your mom be spending frivolously on things that don't matter, and then you pick up that same habit. Now you're spending frivolously on things that don't matter, or a lot of times I think generational curses right now are, you know what I'm saying, just as we're all college students or graduated college. Sometimes some of you guys may be first generation. I'm a first generation college student. You know what I'm saying? My father, he worked in a warehouse his entire life. You feel me? And like just to try to break that curse, we have conversations all the time. He'd be like, you know what, son, whatever you do, don't work with your hands. Like you keep working with your hands, you're gonna keep doing that for the rest of your life. You might stay in warehouses for 10, 15 years. You don't want to do that. You understand what I'm saying? Like that right there, even though working in the warehouse ain't no terrible thing. People get mortgages, pay off cars, take care of their family doing that. But as far as like a generation of curses, so I think in my point of view too is like not being able to elevate your life in a way above your parents. What you guys think? What you think, Carrie? What you think, Imani? I know Imani know that. What you think, Imani? Imani know something. Imani know what's
I would
up.
have
She
to
don't know,
say,
but Imani know what's up. What's up, Imani?
I would have to say that, your environment plays a huge role in what habits you do and don't pick up. Whether it's because, your family members have this habit and you're the person that they were the person that raised you, you're going to be tend to pick up that habit from a very young age. Granted, you may think that is normal outside of that, but to other people they'll be thinking that those things that you have experienced, whether it's generational or just the susceptible to the environment that you're in, isn't really normal. So you have to understand that there's always going to be a different perspective of what you can and can't do due to the environment that you're in. And granted, our parents do want better for us to, my parents went to college, but they stopped right after their bachelor's degree. They want me to go continue for like my PhD and things like that. They set it up in a way for you to always end up doing better. So that way, for a fact that, say, for instance, I'm going to go for my PhD, say, for instance, my next line of family, I'm going to push my kids to do even better.
Stop clicking on something for yourself.
Why doesn't it?
On YouTube.
Okay. From my personal perspective, I kind of agree with everyone when it comes to like, if we get taught certain things. So just like, how to love people, how to through racism and everything, I just feel like when we're born, we don't know anything. So whoever grows us up, raises us is what we learn from them. So when it comes to generational curses and everything like that is basically like whatever they learn from their parents and what their parents taught them, it kind of trickles down in a sense, even though you have the choice to figure out, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I do want to pick up on, because there's always some things that we do want to pick up from my family. Like my mom, she went to college, but she got her associate's degree. She didn't go to an actual 4-year college. She still worked. She still got her degree, but I'm the first in my family to actually get a bachelor's in a 4-year institution. So it's just like, when this comes to generational things, it's like sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. But like I say, it depends on the person and how you want to learn and grow from it. So yeah, but I definitely agree with everyone. Everything is taught and eventually learned. So mhm.
Okay, cool. So we got a good idea on how it's distributed, and good. Basically, we have a good base foundation. So my next thing I would say is, what are the biggest things from our generation that you notice? What are the chains of our generation? Simply put, what are the chains of our generation? And how can we as a generation begin to recognize that and move forward?
Okay, can you elaborate a little bit more? Like you change that meaning what exactly?
Go ahead, Jake. I got you. Oh, okay.
Debt.
So change. Go ahead. Okay, so what I mean by chains is basically, I guess you could say, in the matter of what does our generation do that stops us from growing? Granted, I know. Go ahead. If y'all want to jump in, y'all can jump in a moment. But
I would have to say more, I guess what the word you're looking for is baggage. Like what baggage do we carry around that our, generation has been carrying on for ages? Prime examples could be education, how we're deemed in society, whether it's we invest or we don't invest. Do our kids go to college? Those type of things. And, even emotional health, like we don't like to talk about those things because you never saw your grandparents or your mother or your father talk about those things, like, hey, I'm upset, here's the reason why, you would always just see them get angry, but it would never be resolved, or whatever the case may be. Those are prime examples of the baggage or chains of our generation that have been continuously being carried on through many generations. Jacob?
Can you guys hear me? Yeah, yeah. Okay, there it is. It's like when I hit my mic, I don't know what it is. It's like a delay. I don't know. It's crazy. All right. If many of you don't know, most of you probably don't. I'm a black Muslim. You know what I'm saying? All that. And I probably last year or two ago, I changed my last name. And the conversation I have with a lot of black people is, why do we carry the last names of white slave owners from years ago, right? Is that not something that does that make sense? Like, it's like we continuously carry on that trauma for what reason? I don't know. If you guys want to elaborate on that, I just find it interesting.
No, I feel that. I agree with Karen. I agree with Jake too. I think that another thing. I think that materialism is always going to be a chain that's tying us down. Because you know what I'm saying. Like, it's one thing. Like, you know what I'm saying. When we young and you in high school, you want to have all the shoes, want to have all that stuff. But it's like at some point, like, we gotta be realistic with ourselves. Like, we can't be out here having, like, you know what I'm saying, 15 pair or $200 shoes, driving $1,000 car. You know what I'm saying? In an apartment, you know what I'm saying? Everything it has to. I think, like, as far as like how men, like just the men, the black men in our society, like, some of us really do have our priorities like wrong. Like what we actually trying to accomplish is the real curse. Like, we trying to accomplish something that don't really need to be accomplished. Like, we just like, it's like, yeah, you accomplishing that, but yeah, guess what, bro? You really in the same spot you've been in, and that's really like the definition of a curse to me. Where, you know what I'm saying, I'm checking off all these things on my list, and then I'm still sitting in the same spot in my life. It's like, yo, I gotta be cursed because I feel like I'm winning, but I'm really not. Like, are you really not? Like, I think that, like, and it's like, basically, I think like priorities, like you're saying, like, are you investing? Are you actually trying to set yourself up for a better future? Education is going to set you up for a better future because you can have a career, you can have, you know what I'm saying, sustainable income, and you don't have to be working. And really working has a major part to do with our lives. And I think, as far as black people, when we're young, you know what I'm saying, we are really inspired by everybody who does not have a job. Okay, all of our idols don't work. You know what I'm saying? And that junk really pays the mind on our pays the trick on our mind as black men, because, like, that's so far from reality of most everyday people. So it's like, you kind of like, it's like, I guess, like, the real curse right now, I think, is like misdirection that we've given as black men, as opposed to like how this society really works. Like, it's kind of like, it's sort of like, we get told one thing, but that's nowhere near the truth. Like, what is really, like, how this really works. You know what I'm saying? So
For me, oh, go ahead, Sammy, because I've been talking. So go ahead and say what you got to say.
I just wanted to piggyback off of Jacob when he says, why do we carry the last names of white slave owners? I know for me, my last name, I'm not sure where it comes from, but I know my granddad worked hard to establish what my family has now. So that is why I choose to keep my last name the way it is, and why, if I ever do get married, I would keep my last name or hyphenate my name, because I want to continue the legacy of what my granddad has started, and I want to finish that out for him, and to show them that not only does your name matter, but it's going to continue to matter down the line and through other generations, and it's going to break the generational curses of what's happened in the past.
So, to piggyback off of what Samuel said, I come from a Caribbean household, and I come from a mixed household at that too. So it's just like, my last name Wiggin is Irish, and if you look at my family, you could tell that we are all different shapes, size, colors, whatever you want to say. But with that being said, my dad side of the family is Indian. So like when the last name Wiggin came from like many generations when they actually migrated from India over to Jamaica. So for me to that whole line of people and having that last name and representing that last name means everything to me. Even though I can still trace as many last names as far as it goes back, I'm still going to represent my father's name at the end of the day.
Great. That's a great point right there. Like, it's so funny. It's so funny. Like, it's good. I like hearing people talk about like the heritage and stuff like that. My grandfather, his last name, of course, is good, and his mother was was Indian, and his dad was a runaway, or was a runaway basically, and he had a bunch of kids in South Carolina, and like you know what I'm saying, my granddad had a bunch of sisters, so it's like like as far as goods go, there wasn't that many like it's like you know what I'm saying, it wasn't that many like men in the family, so it's like and it's like I guess if you like we I guess we kind of know our history a little bit. Just I mean, just the fact that like a lot of people like might not know like the lineage that they have like from slavery to present day and stuff like that. But since I do know about at least about my granddad's side of my family like that. But my grandmother, like she was adopted. Actually, both of my grandmas were adopted. So as far as like extended family like that, like large family trees, I don't know like the true origin of all of them unless it's through my granddad. Like if I got rid of that, like it wouldn't even be I wouldn't even be able to know how to connect with my family no more. Like all the ones I you know what I'm saying I don't know that you may come in contact with.
Okay. Cool, cool, cool.
Okay, yeah, that's
So
real. That's real. You know what I'm saying? My oh, okay, my fault.
you good? Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. My fault. I'll be having to wait for the mic to come back on. No, my original last name was Johnson, right? Saying we already know where that last name came from. Doing research, asking my grandparents and some of my older ancestors where that name came from. They all told me, and with that, I before I even changed my last name, I went to my father and told him what was going to go down. You know what I'm saying? I told him, I was like, hey, pops, I'm thinking about changing my last name. Of course, he met me with not animosity, but he wasn't feeling it. You know what I'm saying? He was like, that's my last name. Like, why would you want to give that up? And you know what I'm saying, specifically, I told him, I was like, us passing this last name down. I changed it before my son was born, and I was like, us. I didn't want to continue that legacy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, for what reason? You know what I mean? I understand it was yours, but I'm like, nah, I kind of want to dead that right here. You know what I mean? I don't even know the white man it came from, and I don't want to carry on his legacy. So I went and not created one, but found one, an Islamic one with me, and gave that to my son and myself, and my wife has it too.
And just for the record, I want to let you know, man, you know what I'm saying? You really can't miss if you're going with Shabazz or Ali. If you're going with Shabazz or Ali, like, that's the name I want. You know what I'm saying? That's the number one draft pick for me. You dig? If I'm making a change, I'm going the same way. You don't think we brothers out here? It's like, yo, everybody last name Shabazz? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. Cool, cool, cool. So I like how everyone went and talked about their roots. So I'm gonna talk about mine a little bit. So me growing up I grew up in a household with 5 different generations. So I had my great grandmother, my grandmother, my aunts, me, and now I have cousins in the household with me, little baby cousins. And it's a lot. Granted, I love them, but when you with everybody, it becomes a lot, and it's like I love y'all, but can I just have my own time? Love the little kids, they be like, Zion, can we go outside? All that good stuff. Love them to death. But getting back on topic, when it comes to like when I'm coming down to seeing like the change of our generation, once I came down to it, looking at my life and then, taking in education I'm getting from college, because once you go off to college, everything seems slightly different because common sense that you learn, some of it isn't common, and then you learn more common sense. And so when I came down to it, I saw that the biggest thing would be education and the way we use our words, because words have extreme power. And me as an English major, seeing how, writing a sentence in various different ways, you see the power behind it. Even in our music today, we see the power behind it, and it gets deep. And granted, I believe like that is one of the focal points in which we begin to start accepting generational trauma, even ourselves wise. Once we start changing how we see ourselves through our words, actions, because once we change our words, our actions begin to change, because our first step is to change the mindset. And so that is one of the biggest things where I can say acceptance starts, and y'all can jump in and add on to it. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the words, of course, and luckily, hopefully, hope nobody here has ever been in a situation where they actually had to fight off. Like a lot of people, of course, go in situations where they have people with their family telling them that they can't do stuff. You know what I'm saying? Be like, or and those words are, you know what I'm saying? Words are reality. Like words are the prophecy of your life. So somebody come in and say, "Oh, you ain't gonna be nothing like such and such in your family or something." Like, you know what I'm saying? Or you remind me of somebody else in their family, and you gonna end up like them. You know what I'm saying? Like those type of curses that are like put onto you and put into your mind, put in your spirit. I think those are like the most difficult ones to battle with, to actually try to counteract, because a lot of people don't know how to move forward once somebody's already put you down with words, especially if you guys are related. So if like, you know what I'm saying, somebody in your family is like prophesying this type of life on you, like I really want to know, like, if somebody like you run into people doing stuff like something like that's happened to them, like what do you say? Like what do you say to somebody, like try to help them bounce back from there?
To piggyback off of that, I can definitely relate to when it comes to, words, because technically I shouldn't be here like right now speaking on this panel. About 7 years, actually, today's the 24th. Yeah, 7 years today. I attempted suicide my freshman year in high school. And they like when it comes to like, black people, and when it comes to generation, like we were talking about earlier, mental health is not really something that we talk about. It's more, especially for black women, in a sense, we always have like a label of we're strong, we're powerful, we go through the most, but we can hold our own. But little do we know, like we might be hanging out with somebody and smile and take care of them, but actually like worrying when we get back to our dorms, we are dealing with our own like personal demons that lives inside of us. So when it comes to like, I really believe on words, even though they say words can't kill you, it can possibly kill you, because sometimes like the strongest people, like they say, the strongest people, you got to check up on them, because even like when I'm okay and I might seem okay, I'm not okay. It's just real. Let's just talk about that, have that conversation. And I just think in the black community, sometimes we just expect certain things to just skate by. Like, okay, yeah, your grades, get over it. You're supposed to, it is what it is. School is hard. But right now, like for example, let's take the pandemic. If you don't have a mindset of, okay, this is what I'm here for, I'm here to get my degree, I'm here to at least try to make all A's, B's, if just to be safe. Being in your room and just staying on WebEx all day, every day can be very depressing if you don't have any friends. And even though we got to stay safe, of course, you want to hang around your people, especially before COVID. We go from partying every day, hanging out, traveling, doing like everything is normal too. Out of nowhere, one day is the whole world just shuts down, and you got to separate yourself from the outside world. And people just need that type of connection when it comes to communicating and being in personal spaces with other people. Even though we came in this world by ourselves, we still do need like one other person, like family. You need your mom. I can't live without my mom. I wouldn't know what I would be able to do without my mom and my grandma. I would like fight a brick building about them too. And even my little brother. So it's just when it comes to words, I take words very seriously. Like when somebody say I am not okay, I really take that as okay, what's wrong? Because we don't have that conversation of making sure that we uplift each other and actually hear each other out, because it's brushed under the rug that we got bigger stuff to worry about. Like, I can't pay my bills, so your feelings don't really matter. Or I got a C in class, so I really don't care about you having a bad day. You got an F on your test, basically. So it's just when it comes to generational things, we just have to like break a lot of stuff in the community, because down to colorism, down to women in their bodies, males being not the ones that go to college and graduate. It's just a lot that I don't know when it will start and when it will finish, because it's happened so long. And it's not even our fault in a sense. It's because we were brought here to basically be belittled. And it took over time for people to fight and to realize that, okay, we are worth something, but we still have that, through life, through culture, through everything else that we deal through in America as being Black individuals, that we just have to have the mindset, okay, we can't listen to what everybody else is telling us in the media, TV, and all the other stuff. So yeah, words speak loud just like actions. So some people say actions speak louder than words. No, words can speak louder than actions sometimes too, if you really think about it.
Yeah, my grandma used to always say, love is an action word. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, definitely, definitely. Everybody smiles in the same language. I feel like anyway, like every day, you should always spread as much positivity and love. You know what I mean? Because everybody, I was talking to somebody the other day about it. Literally, everybody has their own demons. You know what I mean? Everybody dealing with something. Like there's nobody on this planet that is not dealing with something. So I feel like good method. You know what I'm saying? Is literally I always try to give at least 2 or 3 people a day a compliment, because you never know how far it goes. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's my little tidbit.
Yeah. To piggyback off of that, what Monty said about the friend who's always the strongest, I'm definitely that friend. I'm definitely gonna put on a brave face and put on a smile, and I check on my friends before I check on my own self, because I'm the type of person that I am. I'm very much an empath, so I feel off other people's emotions. So if you're upset, I'm gonna know that you're upset, and I'm gonna worry about you more than worry about myself. And I have to understand that I still have to worry about myself too now. That's something that I'm struggling with, and I'm trying to break that curse, because my family is the same way. They will literally help everybody else before they help themselves. So that is a curse that I'm working to break. And also currently I'm working to break the curse that Monty mentioned about African American men going to college. I am the first grandson in my family to ever go to college. So, and then now I'm teaching my cousins and nephews and even some of my nieces, you can go to school and make something of yourself and not go to a technical school or go to a 2-year college, and you can actually go to school and make some yourself and better your life and better what you want to do and accomplish your dreams. So that's something that I'm definitely trying to put out into the world right now.
Okay. So, as we know, we all are, basically keeping moving, acknowledging the past, but we keep moving. But how do you be a light within your community?
I can answer this one. So for me, I am the mom of the group out of all my friends. Since I've attended SSU fall 2017, I'm finally graduating in May. Hallelujah. Yeah, so since I've been here, sorry you all, SRPI. Since I've been here, I've always been the type of person, I think that's another thing too, generational things. I picked it up from my mother. I've always been the one to like, mentor, but not mentor like the underclassmen. Because when I got here my freshman year, like I said, I'm the first in my family to go away to college. I'm the first person in my family to go to a HBCU. So when I got here, I was basically on my own. I'm the only one out my graduating class from high school to actually go to Savannah State. Everybody in my graduating class went to either Georgia State, West Georgia, Albany State. I was the only one that stood about graduation that said they was going to SSU. So for me, I had to make my own pathway by befriending people, making sure like, okay, because I didn't have a guidance. I never had a mentor. Sometimes I wish I had that, but I can say that's like my strong suit because my name on this campus, I did that by myself. I had help, of course, but I had to get out my comfort zone and network, which is one thing that we talk about being here in college. When you network, because that's very important. So for me, when I say I'm like the mom, is because I don't like what I went through sometimes. I had to experience to get to some of the stuff that I wanted to see eventually, or even if I didn't accomplish, I tried to like befriend the underclassmen and tell them, okay, don't do what I did. I didn't do X, Y, Z because I was going through this. I didn't do this because I blase. So I just feel like when it comes to like, as at least being an upperclassman, I think it's important to befriend or just, have some type of underclassman guidance because being a freshman, even being a sophomore, like freshman year, people mess up. That's, when we get to college, we are still trying to figure out, okay, oh my God, it's so the band, Greek life, events, homecoming. It's just so much going on at one time. Like you focus, you're here for school, but sometimes all the extra activities, especially before COVID, it was a lot going on that you wanted to be involved in. And then, moved on to sophomore year. You're still like in the mindset, okay, I'm here now. I'm kind of an upperclassman, but I still don't know where I want to go and still what I want to do because, a lot of times people either drop out their second semester of their freshman year, or they drop out their sophomore year. So for me, I just feel like I just like guiding people. I don't know if that's my like purpose on this planet is to like help people go through certain things that I didn't get when I was like younger or like growing up. Like I said, all the mistakes that I went through, I try to like give it as a warning to everybody else. Don't do the stupid things I did. Do something better. Sometimes people have to watch other people. Like for me, my mom was always telling me, didn't you learn from your friends? That friend that you could, but I was still hard headed and say, no, I'm gonna still try it anyway. And then of course it catches up to me. So I was always one that had to experience it from my shoes. So for me, I try to warn everybody and hopefully eventually they get it from, watching me like, okay, yeah, Monty said don't do this because this was her outcome. So I want to avoid the outcome as much as I possibly can. So basically, even though I made a fool of myself, if it can help me, like me being a fool, it can help somebody else and not experience what I went through. Like I'm actually like the happiest person in the world. Like so I'm glad that I came to SSU because I wanted to go to a bigger HBCU. I was in CAT to the day I die. I thought that's where I was supposed to go, but it was kind of like a blessing in disguise to come to Savannah State because I've met some beautiful people. I met some faculty that I never thought I would talk to, friendships that I gained through along the way, lost some friendships, but that's part of growth. Sometimes people aren't here for seasons instead of like what you thought would be forever. So I just believe, whatever your pathway is, whatever God put you on this earth for, don't be scared to go through it, even though it is scary. I'm still scared sometimes because I still don't feel like I know my whole true purpose on this planet. But I can really say is trust the process because life's a climb and, eventually, let Molly say the view is going to be great. So, yeah, that's how I feel, for real.
So, question. Because everybody in here is a leader in some way, shape, or form, but you had a process to get through it. So I know I still have my moments. So how do y'all get comfortable being uncomfortable within y'all growth?
How you, of course, how you feel? You still feel uncomfortable in your uncomfortable growth. I guess. Or what's the hardest part about it? What was the question?
I was saying, how do you get comfortable while you're uncomfortable? Because when you grow, you get uncomfortable, and getting into these positions that we in, getting to the life changes, transitioning, it's uncomfortable, and some people stay within their comfort. But as for us, we moved out our comfort zone, expanded. So how do you get comfortable doing that?
I want to say
Um,
my advice to anybody right now is saying like really like it takes a long time. Like one of the things we talking about generational curses too, so this is actually real fitting. Like when I was in the seventh grade, my dad like basically just like became like an alcoholic, and he ain't stopped being an alcoholic until like my junior year of college. Like so, this is like most of the time I was an adult. Like that shit was embarrassing. My dad was like really like a drunk, like you know what I'm saying? Like the neighborhood drunk dog. Like he was on it, like you know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't like he was just like, you know what I'm saying, he was going through something in his life at that time. And that's who he was. And it was like that was my dad, and he was, you know what I'm saying, he was going through his thing at that time, and it was something that I had to like me, it was something I never really wanted to speak on or whatever. And by the time he came out of it, it was a blessing. But it was like one of those things that I think like a lot of times like things that you do not want to express to others that can weigh down on you. And I would say that basically try to take your time with it. Take your time with it. And like whenever you get comfortable enough to tell your story, tell your truth, let that be the time that you move forward with it.
um, for me, I'll say this year I have just started to get out of my comfort zone a little more and speaking my truth a little bit. Um, Something happened to me my freshman year that was very traumatic, and I was finally able to disclose that information to my cohort of social workers that I work closely with in my department of all my classmates. I'll say, um, and it was a very liberating and freeing moment, and like I've never felt like a burden being lifted off of my shoulders so much that in that room it just felt amazing to also not only just let all that go and stop and let all that animosity and anger that I had go, but to feel the love that I felt from all of the women that I'm in my class with. Because I'm the only male in my department. Oh, I'm the only male in my cohort right now. So to feel the love from all those women and just to know that they have my back like I have theirs, it was amazing for me to step outside of being comfortable because when you're stuck in being comfortable, you don't grow, you don't move, you're very stagnant, and you're just living life and you're not living for your purpose.
Um, my process was a little different. Um, being a Jamaican, for one, was completely different for me. And coming here and, trying to express my culture and the language and everything like that, some people weren't comfortable with that. And I had to learn that, some things are meant to be kept to yourself. But when it came to leadership roles and showing that I was different and I had to, not put my toe in the water, but I actually had to, jump in every now and again and understand that sometimes the water may look cold, but it could actually be warm to you. So that's the mindset I've put in place for myself when it came to becoming the president of CAB and any future endeavors that I may have planned when I leave college. So for me, um, just being okay with knowing that sometimes it is okay for you to be in an uncomfortable position because you never know what benefits might come out of that uncomfortable position. So if you've never been there before, sometimes it's good to just, go through that door every once in a while and see what is there and see what opportunities lie ahead. Because if I'm sitting here in a stagnant place and I'm not benefiting and I'm not gaining anything, at that point it realizes, it hits you in your brain, oh wait, maybe it's time for me to move on. So that's where I've gotten.
Well, for me, I'm gonna be real honest with you. I still, even though I'm a senior here, I'm still going through being comfortable and uncomfortable phase. Like I still, even though I'm very like outgoing, it seems like I'm very shy and very timid on like how I approach people. And since I've been here, I have been a busybody, too busy actually. I've been involved in 12 organizations since my freshman year. I've served on 4 executive boards. Yeah, I did too much, but it worked out in the end. And it's just for me being, I guess, kind of being uncomfortable getting to that point is like letting my guard down in a sense, because I'm very like protective of who I am. And I think most people are. Like, I don't like letting people know me, get to know me for real, because I kind of have trust issues in the sense that I don't want to, let my guard down, put my all into you, and then it backfires and it all goes to waste. So when it comes to being comfortable in my position, I had to learn that, everybody doesn't have a vendetta against you. You have to just, be open-minded to what people have to say. You got to love on your counterparts. You got to love where you're placed in, because some things, like since I've been here, like I said, even though I've been involved in a lot of organizations, some things that I wanted to do did not happen. And it just like motivated me to like go harder. Like Miss RHA, never thought I would be Miss RHA, didn't even consider it. Being LA Nation president right now, never would have thought about that. When I first got on this campus, I didn't even know how to walk in heels, let alone how to like lead a whole organization. So it's just, for me, it's just, like I said, I've just been thankful for like all the opportunities. And I don't know. Okay, cool. Did y'all hear me? Because the screen started spinning. I'm not sure. But yeah, I just, like I say, I'm still in the comfortable phase. Like I said, I'm very outgoing, but I'm also very shy and timid and like very reserved in a sense. But I will get on your nerves and still be like, okay, y'all, we got to do some collaborations. We got to do events. We got to make some stuff shake if you want to see some stuff on campus, because that's the thing. We don't have that much tiger pride. We say we had tiger spirit, but I feel like what I used to see on social media, like old 2011, 2012, 2013, I wanted to experience that. We have that, but we don't have the full blown I love my SSU that we should have. So I just think, even like not even in positions, I just think everybody's purpose on this campus can be in some type of leadership, whether it is on paper or it's just in your friend group. You just gotta motivate the next person to just, just take that step, because sometimes you gotta take a leap of faith. Either you're gonna make it or you're not. And if you don't make it, it's not the end of the world. You gotta keep pushing, and just eventually something's gonna happen for you. If it doesn't at the moment when you want it to be, it's okay. Like I had to put that in my mind. Like it's not the end of the world when you don't get what you want in that moment. Because Lord knows I used to be a crybaby, still crybaby, but crying like, oh my God, I didn't get XYZ. But yeah, I'm going through it right now too, y'all. Stressful senior, too much. So yeah.
Amani, I feel you on that, because as people like to always say, not to diss anybody's organization, but CAB has a lot going on. It is one of the littest organizations on campus, and some people just don't understand what goes on behind the scenes, and it can get to a point where you want to shut down, it feels like you're hitting a wall. But with the people who are above us and our older generation and as our advisors and people that we speak to on a daily basis, I've actually gotten to a place where that uncomfortable spot is actually okay. But at the end of the day, you got to look to our older generation because they've been here before. They've been here before, and they're going to be like, okay, just because you're hitting the wall doesn't mean you can't break this wall down some form or fashion. Either you gonna knock it down or you gonna climb over it. You're gonna take your pick, but we got to get over this hurdle somehow. And just to bring it back to the conversation of our chains of our generation, you got one or two options. You can find the lock, pick the lock, and break the chain, or you could just take some chain cutters and just snap it right then and there.
I know exactly what y'all mean. For me, my plan going into college was just like get my education, focus on myself, keep my head down, stay out of everybody's way. Me speaking wise, me being in different organizations, that was not a part of the plan. Granted, I'm always told by different people, Zion, why don't you speak more? Because when you actually speak, it makes sense. You actually know how to connect with people. You actually understand people. But it's just like me, I had to learn how to get used to being uncomfortable. And I'm still learning that to this day, and I'm starting to get used to it. So I know I made progress, and I'm proud of myself about that. But I mean, I know everything takes time. You gotta get used to being uncomfortable, because if you don't, you're just gonna sit in the same place, and you truly don't want to sit in the same place. Because if you sit in the same place, you're not really living. The goal of life is to live a life that you feel that is worth living. And if it takes you being uncomfortable to get where you have to be, you have to get used to it. Put your feet in cold water, and that way you'll warm it up. But I'd like to thank all of you for being on the panel. Thank all of you for being on the panel. Thank you all for your time. I would also like to mention, check up on your friends, keep everybody updated. And also, don't forget there is counseling services on campus. They are still active. So please, if you need help, talk to somebody. But yeah, I'd like to thank all y'all for coming out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate it.
Hey, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
We got to do this again.
Definitely should.
We definitely got to. And for the ones who are watching, please don't be afraid to reach out to any of us. Myself, Amani, Zion, Samuel, and anybody else who was on this call, Justin and Jacob. You never know the connections that you're going to make and the people that can help you in certain situations. So please reach out, and you know what? Have a great evening.
Yep.
Peace, love, and blessings.
Thank you. Love y'all.
Peace.
Do your homework.
Have a good one.
Thanks for watching.
Amani. Have a good night.